Hello. In this video, let us study about the types of fractions. The first we study about like fractions. What are like fractions? Fractions with same denominators are called like fractions. Like say you have 1 by 4, 3 by 4, say 5 by 4, those fractions where the denominators are same are called like fractions. That means to say we are considering those fractions where the number of equal parts the whole object is being divided into are same. Such fractions are called like fractions. And unlike fractions, yes, as the name suggests, unlike fractions are those fractions where the denominators are different. That means they are not same, like say 1 by 2, say 1 by 3, 1 by 5, you know. So these fractions where the denominators are different are what you call as unlike fractions. Then we have something called as proper fractions. What are proper fractions? When the numerator, every fraction is represented in the form of numerator by denominator. When this numerator is less than the denominator, then that fraction is called as a proper fraction. Like say suppose for example I have a whole object. I am dividing it into 4 equal parts. Now each part is 1 out of all the 4 parts, so it is 1 by 4. Suppose I have a whole object and I am dividing it into say 3 parts, 1, 2 and 3 parts I am dividing it into. Say I am considering these 2 parts. So how do you represent them in the form of a fraction? This is 2 of the 3 parts. So this is 2 by 3. You understand? So such fractions are called proper fractions where your numerator value is always less than the denominator value. Like in this case 1 is less than 4, 2 is less than 3. So numerator less than denominator. When this condition is satisfied, such fractions are called proper fractions. Then what are improper fractions? Improper fractions are those fractions like which are written in the form of numerator and denominator. When the numerator is greater than denominator, such fractions are called as improper fractions. Like say for example I have a whole object, right? This is one whole object, this is say another whole object. I am dividing this object into let me say this into 3 categories, this also into 3 parts. Now I am considering this whole thing and say only 2 parts of this. Now this is 3 by 3 and this is 2 by 3. Now together when I take, this will become 5 by 3. Now if you see 5 is greater than 3, that is numerator is greater than denominator. Such fractions are called improper fractions. In fact, when numerator is also equal to denominator, such fractions are also called as improper fractions. Or if I can put them together, whenever numerator is greater than or equal to denominator, such fractions are called improper fractions. Like say for example, if I have a whole object which I am say dividing it into 4 parts and I am considering all the 4 parts, that is 4 parts of all the 4 parts. This is also an improper fraction where numerator is equal to denominator. This is also an improper fraction where numerator is greater than denominator. So when numerator is greater than or equal to denominator, then such fraction is called an improper fraction. Then we have something called as equivalent fractions. What are equivalent fractions? See, some fractions that appear differently. Like say for example, I have a whole object and I am dividing it into 2 parts. Suppose I am considering this part. Now what is this? This is one part of the two parts that it is been divided into. Similarly, I have a whole object, and now this time I am dividing it into four parts. But here I want to consider two parts of the four parts that it is been divided into. So I am taking two parts of the four parts. Now if you look at this, it's actually they both are same. That is, I am considering the similar portion of the whole object that I'm considering the similar portion of the same object. But in fractions, I can represent it in different way, because I am dividing this into four parts and I am choosing two on the four parts. Because I am dividing this into two parts, I am choosing only one of the two parts. Say the whole object, the same whole object, if I am dividing it into say six parts, right? So these are the six parts. Now I'll consider 1, 2 and 3 parts. So I am taking 3 parts of the 6 parts. Now if you see, this is the same thing. This is the same thing as the previous two were, isn't it? So though they appear different, they are actually the same. Suppose if I am dividing the whole object now into say 1, 2, this is 4, say this is 6 and this is 8. Now I am dividing this into 8 parts, and I want to consider the 4 parts of the 8 parts. Then these 4 together represent the same portion of the whole part which the previous fractions represented. So such fractions which may appear different but have the same value are what we call as equivalent fractions. Like if I can simplify 2 upon 4, you know 2 times 1 is 2 and 2 times 2 is 4. This I can write it as 1 by 2. Similarly, 3 times 1 is 1, 3 times 2 is 2. This is again 1 by 2, and 4 by 8 is also 1 by 2, because 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, that you will end up with 1 by 2, which is the same 1 by 2. You understand? So such fractions are called as equivalent fractions. And we have something called as mixed fractions. What are mixed fractions? A mixed fraction is written as a whole number plus a proper fraction together is what you call a mixed fraction. Like say for example, I have a whole object. I divided it into 4 parts. I am considering all the 4 here. Say I have another whole object which I have divided into 4 parts, but I am considering all the 4 here also. And say I have another whole object, I am dividing it into 4 parts, but this time I want to consider only 3 parts of the 4 parts. That means I am taking this one part whole, because this is 4 by 4. 4 by 4 is nothing but 1. This also one part I am taking it as a whole. This I am considering 3 parts of the 4 whole parts, isn't it? So this will give you 1 plus 1, which is 2, and this is 3 by 4. So together I will write it as 2 3 by 4. This is called as mixed fraction. What is mixed fraction? Mixed fraction is a fraction which is written as a whole number and as a combination of a whole number and a proper fraction together is what you call as mixed fraction. Like say suppose for example, I have a whole object. I am dividing it into say 3 parts. Again I have another whole object, and say I am dividing this also into 3 parts, and I have another whole object. I am say dividing it into again 3 parts. Now this whole part I am considering, so this is 3 upon 3, which is 1. Again this is 3 upon 3 if I consider the whole thing, so this is also 1. Again say I want to consider only one part here, so I am choosing 1 upon all the 3 parts that it is being divided into. So now together I can write this as 2 1 by 3. So this 2 here is a whole number, 1 by 3 is a proper fraction. This together is called as a mixed fraction.